Good morning, everyone. What we're going to be demonstrating this morning is how to assess the occlusal contacts when doing an occlusal adjustment. How to assess whether or not you're truly back into MIP at the vertical dimension of occlusion. The way we do that is to take a piece of cellophane from a sterilization bag and cut it into a strip 1/4 of an inch wide. After having done that, we peel off the paper and place the cellophane in a hemostat. We can then, open please, have the patient close down tight on all her naturally occurring contacts. Open again. You'll notice that she's going to be receiving a bridge in the lower left. So we're trying this first with the bridge out. Close all the way down. And when I close again, open, close again, I pull tight and this doesn't move. She has tight contact in this area. Open again, close please. Tight here. Open again, close please. And it's tight here as well. Open again, close please. And still tight. Okay, open mouth. Next we'll place the bridge in, which has just been soldered. And we'll see whether or not these teeth still come into tight contact with the bridge in place. Close again. Slides right out. Open. Close again. Still slides. Open. Close again. Little better. Close again. It doesn't slide as easily as it did on the anteriors or the left canine, but it still has less resistance to removal than it had before. Open again, please. Close. And this is almost down. So, open. As she's closing, this side is almost in occlusion. It's in the front that we're open. Okay, now let's see if we can figure out where it's high on the bridge. Close all the way down. Open. Close again on the molar. She has a posterior stop against the molar in the back, but there's no contact on that at all. Open. Close again. Well, look at that. The contact on the bicuspid is so tight that it actually broke the little piece of cellophane. So now we know, open wide, without any question, that the highest point of contact with the bridge in place is on the bicuspid. But now, I want to show you something. If we were to take a piece of the Occlusal articulating paper, it would be a little difficult to determine exactly which occlusal contact is the high one. And in fact, Occlusal is not known for picking up contacts very well. And the piece is, how handy, right here. So, let's put that on an articulating paper holder and make certain that the tooth that contacts here, tap up and down please, they're dry, tap up and down on the paper. Good. Open. And open wider. And now, to show the camera exactly where the contact is, we can see that we have a little blue dot right on the mesial marginal ridge of the bicuspid. Okay? Good. But just the tiniest of little blue dots with this type of articulating paper. So now put the bridge back in again and switch to horseshoe-shaped paper, which has a little greater thickness, has its own handle, and we'll do this so the red side's down for a comparison. Close again, tap, 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 and open. Now we can see a broader area of red, and even the potential of a little bit of heavy contact on the outer ridge of the buccal cusp and mesial component. This type of tape works much better, particularly for gold. And as the gold is polished, as we bring this down into proper occlusion, This will mark the polished gold where the other won't. Okay, so the next, open wide now, step will be to occlusally equilibrate that until it's in contact with the opposing tooth at the same time that all the natural contacts are in occlusion. Now, you may recall a moment ago that when I cut the piece of cellophane, it was done to be 1/4 of an inch wide. And the reason for that would be perhaps a little easier to understand if her pontic were also closed down in occlusion with an opposing tooth. But let me show you how the theory does apply to this. Open real wide. This piece of cellophane being 1/4 of an inch wide, we can place it on the bicuspid, then on the distal marginal ridge and mesial marginal ridge between the bicuspid and the molar, and then in the central fossa area, and then the distal marginal ridge and mesial marginal ridge of the area of contact between the first and second molar, then the central fossa of the second molar. So we can use this when faced with a sea of red dots to determine literally by pulling which one is the highest. So this gives us a three-dimensional physical means of being able to establish which is the highest contact point. Now, that we're finished with this, the student is going to equilibrate it, to do the occlusal reshaping that's necessary so that this is in proper contact, after which we'll come back and confirm by using precisely the same test that it's in contact in harmony with all the natural teeth. Okay, to close. One last little thing, lest I forget. Many of you come prepared without scissors. So if you have no scissors, then what we do is take the piece of cellophane and an explorer and do this. And we still have a piece of cellophane that's 1/4 of an inch wide. Okay, Janice, if you would proceed, and we'll be back after it's adjusted. Oh, one other thing. The technique for occlusal adjustment is precisely the same thing that you were taught in the lecture on occlusal reshaping and equilibration that was given in the spring semester of the freshman year. Using that, proceed. The occlusal equilibration has now been completed, and we're going to confirm the perfection of the contacts by using the cellophane from the sterilization bag, just as we did before. Open, please, and close. And I pull, and we still have our contact on the anterior abutment as we did before. Open again, close, and on the canine, and open, and close, and on the anterior, open, and close, on the bicuspid, open and close, and on the molar, open and close, and on the posterior molar. And you may recall, open wide, that initially we did not have tight contact on the posterior abutment, but we do now, because after doing the equilibration, the area that was hyper on the bicuspid has now been reduced, and we picked up the contact on the back tooth. So all of it's in harmony. For final confirmation, we're going to once again mark the occlusal surfaces with the tape and confirm the contact in its position. Close down, please, and tap, tap, tap. Open. Open wide. And here we are, where we can now read the contacts on the buccal cusp tip and mesial marginal ridge area of the bicuspid, and on the buccal cusp tips and distal fossa area of the molar. I have a question. How does it feel?
Great.
Oh, that's outstanding. Folks, I want you to understand, when a patient tells you how it feels, you must listen to them. If there's any hesitation in their voice whatsoever, such as, it feels pretty good, or, yeah, that's almost right, or, well, it's almost perfect, but I think I should probably have to get used to it because I know it's new. If they give you any hesitation or doubt whatsoever in their voice, it's still in hyper. You must listen. You must use this as the test to confirm it. It may be that it is good if they jiggle their jaw left or right, but that's equivalent to having an interference on the inner incline of the, let's say the lower molar's buccal cusp or lingual cusp. For instance, you've just done an amalgam, and your patient is now back for you to finish and polish the amalgam. You see a shiny spot on the inner incline, and you take a greenstone to that, and the patient says, "Oh, that feels great." Well, what you've done is you've eliminated the interference of closure, the premature contact that hits and then causing the patient to slide into a comfortable MIP. So when they say, as you did, that it feels good, then we know that we're in good condition. Now, the next step with this, of course, would be to perfect the excursions, to go into right working, left working, and protrusive. But there's a better way of describing that. Man, what I'd like you to do is just close your teeth down and grind around and see if any of these teeth bang into each other in any direction whatsoever. I want you to go forward, left, and right, and see if they move or trip or bang. Do you feel any interferences at all like that?
No interference.
Okay. That's perfect. You see, if you tell a real human being, a patient, that I want you to go into right working, left working, protrusive, they're going to look at you like you have three heads. But if you ask them just to move their mouth around and see if there's any place where that crown is being bumped by the upper teeth, then they'll notice that the crown is loosening, and you can make the appropriate adjustments for working interferences, not working interferences, and so forth. Now, there's one more point. This material that I'm using is just snipped from a sterilization bag. There are products you can buy called Shim stock or artist foil. You can get these up at Shine or any reputable dental supply house that are precisely the same thing. They are little pieces of cellophane, but they're infinitely more expensive than your sterilization bag, and which is why we use that. Well then, at this point, our student is going to finish and polish the bridge, temporarily cemented, but the occlusal reshaping equilibration phase is now completed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.